Hey everyone, I don't usually do wrestling videos, but in this case I'm making an exception. Um, talking about AEW, particularly what happened on AEW Dynamite last night. Today's the 23rd of April, and we're setting up MJF and the Jet for the TNT title next week. And all the presumption is that there's going to be title versus title, which at um, double or nothing, which kind of makes, if you win, you get two. If you lose, you get none type thing. And that makes a lot of sense. But, and this is an angle I have not heard yet, and I have no insight on. But as I recall, there is a gentleman that is billed from Virginia. We haven't seen him in a little bit. And to be honest, to be full disclosure, I've only been watching AEW since like that MJF, Chris Van Vliet interview, and I was sort of toying with it, and then I'm like, I don't know. I'd heard a lot about this guy MJF, and then I saw his interview with CVV, and I'm like, and there's a reason it's got over 500,000 views. It's got 500,000 views. Compared to all of other Chris's video. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to MJF, by the way. But I decided to give it a go. Been into it since then. And, if you're following the sport, you know what happened. The pay-per-view that happened shortly after that. And the gentleman that I'm referring to is one Hangman Adam Page, who is from Virginia. He's been off for 6 weeks, something like that. And I don't know if what's going on with him, with Hangman. But wouldn't it be curious if, and I don't know if it's going to be in the main event. It could be. But I think we also have Darby versus Brody King next week for the championship. But what would it say if Hangman showed up? Just to get revenge on MJF and sort of cost MJF the title. Because we know what MJF's going to do. MJF's going to go in, he's going to do all his shtick that he does, and he's going to weasel his way, and he'll pull off sort of like on the Jet like he did a few weeks ago, or last month when they wrestled for the world title, and MJF won that, retained. Or Hangman could come back and he could want to get revenge on MJF and cost him the title. Or we could see none of this and it'd be straight up. Or we could see, theoretically, Hangman turn heel on Kevin. All of this is pure speculation on my part, by the way. But I was just like, wait a minute. He didn't want to do him this week, and I get why he didn't want to do it. I get why I understand MJF, but they're going from Portland all the way to Fairfax next week. And I was just thinking, and I'm like, isn't there somebody that's from Virginia? And it's Hangman. So it's like, we just had Joe return. We just had the Hurt Syndicate return a couple weeks ago. Evidently Swerve is wherever he is for a little bit, and Kenny's wherever he is for a little bit. So I'm like, what are the odds that we get Hangman back next week? Now, if MJF ends up winning it, and they end up doing this double or nothing thing for the title, then I'm wrong. Then I'm totally wrong, and that's fine. But I was thinking about this a little bit this week, and I'm like, why wouldn't they just make MJF run a gauntlet? Like, you have to go through this guy. 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 Ought to get his shot back at Darby and the AEW World Championship. But I mean, double or nothing, double on your pleasure, double your fun. Kind of does make sense. And I don't know the history of Double or Nothing, because seriously, I've only been watching since February, so I'm not totally new. But I've been watching for through Revolution and through Dynasty. Started watching before Revolution, so I'm not totally new. But I don't know the history of the backstory of all this, but just some thought, just something I wanted to put out there. Let me know your thoughts. I'll talk to you later. Bye.